Hi! Welcome back to my little corner of the internet where I talk about books, life, and anything in between. We're well into February now, and I figured it's time to do a little wrap-up of what I read in January. I did find my first 5-star read of the year. Spoiler alert, it was the very last book I read this month, and I don't hand out 5 stars easily. I'm trying to be better about that. I'm trying to be less strict on my ratings, but it was actually an unexpected contender for 5 stars. I would not have thought that one would have been it, but I've got my reading journal right here. I just use GoodNotes on the iPad. Let's do a little wrap up of what I read last month. So, starting off the month with You Better Not Pout. It was part of that collection that I mostly read in December. It's the Christmassy collection, and I finished the last one in it, and I did not like this one. I gave it 2 stars, and I wrote that it had no substance. I didn't like the characters or the resolution. I thought it all happened too fast, and it was way too short for me to enjoy. So I did not start the month off strong. And then I immersive read Frost by C.N. Crawford, and I liked it. It was one of those that I liked it. I didn't love it. It was middle of the road, and I don't know if I'll continue on in the series. It may just be a duet, but I thought it was pretty predictable for what it was, but I still enjoyed it. So that one got 3 stars for me. And then I listened to the audiobook for Soul Searching by Lila Sage, and that one just got a 3 from me. I didn't love it. I thought the characters were hollow, especially the male main character. She even calls him boring throughout the book, and I would say that is an apt descriptor. He was very one-dimensional to me, and there wasn't enough of the ghosty paranormal aspect. I would have loved to see a lot more of that. And also the spicy scenes just gave me the ick. Maybe it was because I was listening to it on the treadmill and not reading with my eyeballs, but there's something about it. I don't know if Lila Sage is the author for me. And then 4th read of the month was actually Bride. I forgot I read that last month. And I gave that a 4 stars. I loved the chemistry between the characters. I absolutely loved Misery and her snarky humor. I only care about a couple of things because I've had such a traumatic upbringing. I didn't see the twist betrayal coming, and I thought the spice was earned. It was the right amount. It was earned. There was a big build up. It wasn't insta love, insta lust. And I did like that it set up the next one in the sequel. And then I read Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. It's a dark romance, so if you're not into that, don't read that. It's got some stalking in it, but I ate it up. I loved Josh and his humor mostly. He was like a little golden retriever in my opinion. He was a sweetie who took care of her, and I thought it was funny, and I really liked it. I do think it went on a little too long. The last, I'd say 25 to 20% of it I could have done without. There was a point where it would have had a clear resolution and I would have been satisfied. I don't think the ending was entirely necessary, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. Back is hurting. Wow. Ooh. Would it be weird if I sat on my ball? Because we're outside in my outdoor gym. I'm gonna go get my ball. You can't tell me not to. See? And you can't tell I'm sitting on a ball. If I fall, mind your business. The next one I read was The Kiss Quotient, and I absolutely loved it. I gave this one a 4 stars. The main character, she is on the spectrum, and she gets told that she just needs to learn how to be better as in a relationship as a girlfriend. And then people would like her more, and so she hires an escort to teach her. And maybe a tad unrealistic, but I liked the dynamic between the characters. I thought it was really sweet how they brought out the best in each other, and I still really liked it, and I thought it was sweet. Next, I listened to Seduction Theory, and I hated it. I didn't like the narrator. I didn't like the characters. I thought it was boring. I wrote that the characters were unlikable. It was a shoddy plot, and there wasn't a true resolution. It was very open-ended. And being told in the point of view it was very unreliable. Half of it could have just been made up. You don't know what was true and what was fiction, especially when in the latter half the author started throwing in false depictions where she would write something that happened and then go, just kidding, it didn't happen this way, actually it happened this way. And I really didn't enjoy that, especially since it didn't do it in the beginning. It was something just really thrown into at the end, and I wouldn't recommend that one. But for the 8th book of this year, I read A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, and yes, it was cheesy, but I had a fun, good time. I think the cheese was part of it because she was literally magically in the town of her favorite book series, so of course it's gonna be cheesy. You know, most romances do have an element of cheese in it, and I don't think it was cringy. I loved the ending and how they each wanted to try for each other, but they weren't going to hold someone back. You know, they would wait for that person to come to them, and oops, sorry, don't fall. And I thought it was really good. And then I started reading a short story collection. The first one was Accidentally Yours by Christina Lauren, and I thought that one was cute. I thought it was good banter and it didn't drag on. I liked that one. The next one in the collection, Time Will Tell by Hannah Bonham Young, I didn't like it as much. I thought it was a little too cheesy and too fast, and I didn't quite enjoy it as much as the first one in the collection, and I probably just shouldn't read collections like this back to back. The characters didn't really feel real. They felt more like tropes and very one-dimensional, but we didn't have a lot of time with them. So the next one was Second Act Romance by Julie Soto. I've liked Julie Soto before, and I thought this one was good. It was surprisingly good in my opinion. It was chaotic. There was no spice or twist, but I liked the energy. A Play for Love. I didn't like reading 2 theater-based short stories back to back, so that one was probably more of a me thing. I still gave it a 3. I did enjoy it, but because it was right after the Julie Soto one, I didn't enjoy this one as much. And then 13th on the list, I did The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I'm making my way through that series slowly but surely, and it was better than The Brothers Hawthorne because we got the three protagonists in this. We've got Rohan, which was in that one, but he wasn't one of the POVs. And then we've got Lyra, who's someone new that we were introduced to in the last one. And we got Gigi, who is one of the sisters, and I liked their POVs more. So I thought this one was better. I gave it a 3. It was better than The Brothers Hawthorne, but you can't beat the original trilogy. I think I got used to being in Avery's head. I got used to that dynamic between all of them, and there's not as much of it in this extension of the series with new characters and new plots, and I don't know, just some of the magic that was in the original trilogy is gone for me, and so it's not as good. But I'm still going to finish the series out when I get to them. I think I'm just going to space them out a little more, so I'm not reading them back to back to back. And this one took a while to get through. I wish there was more of all of the brothers in the same room. I really liked seeing the dynamic between the family, and there wasn't really any of that in this. And then I listened to The Outsiders, which I listened to right after we did a movie night in our camp clubhouse where we watched it. And I thought it was good. It was just the movie adaptation. It was basically just like the movie, which, you know, I guess you could say the movie was basically just like the book because, you know, book came first. But I really liked it. My last read of January, my 15th book, happened to be my first 5-star of the year. It was unexpected, and it was an audiobook that I listened to, and it's Eddie Winston is Looking for Love. And when I first started listening to it, I wasn't sure if I was going to keep going, because it was, you know, I believe he was a 90-year-old protagonist. Eddie Winston, he's 90, he works in a charity shop, and he has this thing where he likes to save things that people donate to the charity shop that he deems hold meaning, that he thinks people will regret donating and will want back. And one day, Bella, a woman in her 20s, goes in and she donates this special pair of shoes. And she's crying, she's obviously distraught. She donates it, and Eddie immediately, he saves it. And then through a chance encounter, they meet up again, and they become friends, and she finds out that he's 90 and has never had his first kiss. So she's determined, like, in the midst of all her grief and her wanting to blow up her life because of this big tragedy that happened, she decides her new mission is to help him find his first kiss. And from there blooms an unlikely friendship between someone in their 20s and someone in their 90s. And it's so wholesome, and I love how they both help each other and heal each other through their grief, and that they're just, I love the platonic love that blooms between them, their friendship, and then the characters in the relationship, and this was everything to me. I cried at the end. There was a twist that I didn't see coming that completely shocked me. I don't know what else to say other than it was a beautiful story. I thought it was really well done, and that's my first 5-star of the year. So that concludes my January wrap-up. I had a pretty good reading month. It didn't start out great, but it ended phenomenally, and thank you for being here. Okay, bye.